Okay, recording this video on Wednesday, the 31st of March 2021. Just coming up to 8:53 p.m. Chicago time. Do hope your trading is going well. So, going to make this a midweek chart review. Got a bunch of charts, all of them tick charts this time. So we're kind of going down to effectively a 1 hour chart for each of these markets. Whole bunch of markets we're going to go through. So, usual setup on the charts, left and right with the better indicators. Everything on the right-hand side is to do with price. Everything on the left-hand side is to do with volume. On the right-hand side here, this plate of spaghetti below the price bars here is beta sine wave, which is calculating the cyclical activity in 3 different time frames. That allows us to put support and resistance lines on the price bars themselves, and then breaks of resistance are into uptrends and shown in red, and breaks of support show us downtrends and weakness, and they are shown in white. On the left-hand side, we've got better momentum, which is a volume-based momentum indicator below the price bars, and on the price bars themselves, we have better pro-am, which is calculating the average trade size and identifying professional and amateur activity. Professionals in blue, amateurs in yellow. When everything kind of lines up, volume and price, the background is painted in red for an uptrend and grey for a downtrend. And the first chart I want to show you is the Bitcoin chart, because we had a fantastic kind of, everything kind of comes together in this signal, and this shows almost an ideal setup for the last kind of rise up. So we'd kind of maxed out at 61 and then gone through a kind of a dive back down to 50. And you can see here at 50, a whole bunch of blue professional bars kind of coming at the lows. We have exhaustion selling down here, and we start to break above the trailing stop, Better Pro-Am's trailing stop, which is trailing down when we have blue professional bars, professional activity. And we break into an uptrend after having some end of trends and cyclical patterns kind of wear themselves out on the way down. We're looking for an uptrend because we've got support on the highest time frame, and we kind of go through these cycles, pull back to end of trend on the lowest time frame. The intermediate time frame, we put in another little lowest time frame, pull back to end of trend, and then we start breaking above resistances. So all of that is kind of a classic. It's the 3 non-correlated indicators coming together. Non-correlated because they're based on totally different data that they're analyzing. We're using the average trade size to identify professionals. That's number 1. We're using the volume, buying and selling, to identify exhaustion patterns in here an exhaustion selling pattern for a low, so that's number 2. And number 3, we're looking for the cyclical activity to get exhausted and then to start to break into a reversal. So we have exhausted our cyclical activity, and then we start to break resistances into an uptrend. We have a little bit of a dig down, like a little bit of a test, low volume test or amateur bar kind of test here, and then we really get going. Now, on the upside, we'd expect kind of a mirror image of that. Exhaustion buying, blue professional bars at the highs and so on. We've got one thing kind of going for us that says we might kind of have a little bit of trouble at the moment, because we put in pull back to end of trend on the lowest time frame, pull back to end of trend on the intermediate time frame. We're above resistance on the highest time frame. So cyclically, we've kind of maxed out. But we have seen the professionals step in at the lows here. So they kind of jammed it down here, stepped in here, jammed it down, stepped in again, and this is where we have this stair step with the professional, the pro line, pro bar, kind of trailing up under those blue professional bars. For this thing to all be over, we need blue professional bars on the way up. Similar to this, we have blue professional bars on the way up to those highs. We've not seen that. We've seen the professionals kind of step in at the lows. But cyclically, we're kind of overdone at the moment. We're coming up to that 61,000, which is historically, the high for Bitcoin kind of so far. No exhaustion pattern. So I think we're going to break through at some point, but we might have to just step back a little bit and kind of test into 58. Who knows? It's not over on the upside though. But that is what I want to show you, because it's a classic non-correlated indicators. Everything kind of comes together, shows the low, bang, and we just have a marching uptrend from there. Now, E-mini, what's the E-mini doing? This is my highest time frame tip bar chart I look at, a 10,000 tip bar chart. Takes a little bit of time to load, but it's pretty handy. So here on the 10,000 tip bar chart, yes, we have blue professional bars up into those highs. No exhaustion patterns going on here. Cyclically, we're kind of exhausted. We got pullback to end of trend on the highest time frame. And did we put a pullback to end of trend on the lowest time frame? No, we just put in a pullback and we broke below that pullback. It's still showing kind of red bars here on better sine waves, so we're still technically in an uptrend here. End of the day, a whole bunch of blue professional bars kind of came in here. So cyclically, we're kind of overdone, but we've not started to break any supports on the way down to show weakness. We've not had an exhaustion pattern in here, or on the equity side, particularly, we can get Rambo patterns at those highs where we can get weakness and we kind of back away from there. There's not one on the chart I can show you here, but blue professional bars taking profits, blue professional bars kind of taking profits up here. So I don't know. The other thing that's going on is seasonally, we have holidays are always kind of strong periods for the equity market. I know there's some kind of good feeling, that kind of vibe that goes on. Everybody kind of gets excited, and we have this seasonal pattern where we have strength and uptrends, continuation of uptrends into holidays. So we've got Easter kind of coming up, we've got Thursday's trade, and then we're not trading on Friday or Monday, I don't think, or if we are trading Monday, it's very, very light volume. So that's why we're kind of at these highs. Around this Easter period, though, this could be really interesting for a potential kind of turning here. And the reason why I'm interested in the equities market potentially topping out a little bit here is on the reverse side, the two other things that I kind of look at for big changes in the momentum of flow of funds is bonds and the Japanese yen. And with the bond market, we're down, kind of making some interesting lows kind of down here. So this is the 10-year bond continuous contract at TY. And we've kind of fallen out of bed here, having had blue professional bars at the highs. We didn't get blue professional bars on this sinking down here. We had exhaustion, sell, bullish divergence kind of come in, and pretty anxious buying here. This is exhaustion buying kind of almost getting the move going, and another one here. But on this next little leg down, you can see all those blue professional bars kind of come in. Cyclically, we've got support in the highest time frame, and we put in a little pullback trend on the intermediate time frame. All of this is white kind of so far. So, but down here at this kind of 130 level, 130.25 level down here, this is really important. If we start to hold here, if we start to break above the highs of these blue professional bars in this little sequence here, if we start to trade above resistance and break into uptrends, that could mean that we've got one of these kind of out of equities into bonds kind of flow. And the other market that's kind of oversold on the downside is the Japanese yen. Japanese yen reversal of the yen carry trade. Potentially if we kind of have a little bit of a run out of equities, we could see strength in the yen. And we definitely have down here, the yen's been in a massive decline. Look at this thing. Unbelievable. Exhaustion buy, blue professional bars at that high, then we break into a downtrend, bang, 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 bang. So you see the exhaustion buy ending the move. That's, kind of the euphoria that we need exhaustion buy. Sometimes we see exhaustion buy to get moves going, and we often see, it's not a set in stone thing, but it's a very good rule of thumb. We see exhaustion buy ending moves. And on the way down, we had an exhaustion buy here on the high side, so that was, showing people kind of getting tripped out of shorts, and then we kept on going down. Same thing here, we kind of tripped them out of their shorts, and blue professional bars step in here and we sink down. All of these patterns are on the high side of price. It's not until last 2 days that we get exhaustion selling on the way down here. So this is the exhaustion buying to end that uptrend, and this potentially is the exhaustion sell that ends this downtrend. And down here, cyclically, we put in a pullback to end of trend on the lowest time frame. We've still got to put in a pullback to end of trend on the intermediate time frame because we're that far below that. So, but cyclically, we're overdone on the way down. We've got these exhaustion patterns. We had some blue professional bars here. What's this? We have an amateur testing. Yeah, a little bit amateur down bars kind of testing there. So this is an important kind of place for the Japanese yen. So, and for the 10-year bonds. So potentially, if the equities kind of roll over into, I don't know, Monday, Tuesday, and then we could see, a change of scene with the bonds and Japanese yen starting to rally. So let's look at another couple of kind of forex charts here. We've got the euro chart. This chart, all I want to show you is that we're not done on the downside. Yes, we're kind of pretty extreme. We're below support in the highest time frame, pullback to end of trend, and so on. Some blue professional bars kind of coming in here, but we have not seen exhaustion selling on the euro. Each time the euro tries to have a little bit of a rally, we kind of run out of volume. So we're kind of causing short covering rallies to happen here that just collapse and go the other way. There's that exhaustion buy, blue professional bars at the highs, 22.50, bang, and then after that, this is exhaustion selling, getting the move going. You can see right at the beginning of that move. And then each time here, we're just kind of forcing people out of their positions with these exhaustion patterns here. Nothing on the downside, nothing like this, a 6,000 read on the downside. And we're getting to really important levels kind of structurally on these forex charts. We're at 117.5 on the euro, and really, we had some blue professional bars here, but none on this leg down here. So until we see exhaustion selling on the downside, it's not over for the euro. Yeah, we could have a little bit of a snap back, but we have to sit through that until it kind of comes down. So those two biggest components, Japanese yen and the euro, two biggest components of the dollar index. And this is the dollar index that's been in this super strong kind of bull market for some weeks now. But we are coming into, we're kind of overdone a little bit, pull back to end of trends on the lowest time frames, and Rambo patterns up here. So we could have some weakness in the dollar index until we have come back into a support level where a blue professional bar would kind of step in. So we could have a little bit, if we have some strength in the Japanese yen, that would cause some weakness in the dollar index, and we'd come back down to a nice re-entry point, just like this one here. That's a classic stair-step trade. Blue professional bar kind of steps in here. I don't know if I can, yeah, there we go. Little one. I love the single blue professional bars that form a stair-step. And you just know on this move up, being led by the amateurs, got a little bit overextended because it was being led by the amateurs, kind of fell away, and the professionals step in. As soon as they kind of come down to another level, they step in, it goes up and just kind of away. So let's see, that's kind of interesting. I'm short Aussie at the moment. This is working out nicely. Got short based on these blue professional bars and exhaustion buying down here. And until we see a mirror image where we see exhaustion selling on the downside, might not be that strong of a reading on the downside, but be something at least akin to a 4,000 read on the downside. We're not over. And what I like about this is we're close to a support in the highest time frame. We break that support in the highest time frame, this could run nicely. So this is working out for me. I kind of added to my position on this one. Just don't think it's over on the downside. Then let's look at gold and silver. I've been talking about gold, where I've been looking on the daily chart for a blue professional bar to kind of step in. We had a strong day in gold today, but it was not the bottom that I was looking for because it was based on Rambo patterns. So last couple of days, gold sold off, and then today, you can see that Rambo patterns. The amateurs, getting wrong-footed. It was cyclical support at that point, exhaustion, selling, and so on. The move that we're having at the moment is basically to clear out these amateurs traders, but it does not mean that the move is the beginning of the next leg up in dollar index, because we see no blue professional bars down here. All the blue professional bars have been at the highs here, selling down, kind of coming in, selling down again, selling down this move. So all this is just a question of kind of tripping the poor old amateurs out of positions with a really nasty retrace today. Silver's kind of the same thing. We've seen no blue professional bars on the way down. I know we've seen these ones kind of come in here. But all I think that was doing was just gaming it up in order to get all that volume and kind of take it out. I like to see the blue professional bars on the way down here. So we're below all kinds of supports on these time frames. We've got to put in pullback to end of trend until we see blue professional bars at the lows. So it's not time to jump into silver or gold, I don't believe. And I don't think, based on crude, that the uptrend is over. At some point, we'll have a nice little entry on crude on the tip bar charts. They certainly came in here cyclically. I mean, I know this looks kind of messy, but it's quite simple. Just like, look for the white bars for continuation of the downtrend, and then at these lows we put in pullback to end of trend on the intermediate time frame and the lowest time frame, and then the highest time frame pullback to end of trend. So cyclically, that's all kind of over on the downside. They're kind of exhausted, and all we're doing at the moment is putting in another resistance to support trade kind of trend on the highest time frame here. You can see that point here. This is a really important kind of level. We need that to kind of hold. Once we've had a downtrend, the second cyclical turn after an end of trend is a really important point where in the market that could be the beginning of an uptrend. So, on crude we need to hold, but there's no blue professional bars at this point. So until the professionals kind of step in, I'm reluctant to kind of do anything there. Copper's looking potentially good for a little bit of a bounce. You can see here blue professional bars kind of step in, we come away, we test back down, amateur bars, amateurs testing, but we have to break above resistances in order to get into an uptrend here. So copper potentially could start to rally. Natural gas, now I've been waiting for natural gas, as I think a lot of people have for a long time, down at this kind of $2, $2.50 level, psychologically really important. Exhaustion sell, blue professional bars kind of come in. A little bit of profit taking here. We're going a pullback to end of trend cycle to end this thing off. Everything needs to go through its cycles. Pullback to end of trend on the lowest time frame, pullback to end of trend on the intermediate time frame, pullback to end of trend on the highest time frame. So we're starting to set up for a rally in natural gas, but we've got to put in this energy and pullback to end of trend, and then let's see some blue professional bars kind of come in and start to break above resistances. I am losing my voice. I'm talking to so many charts. Anyway, just quickly, what will I do? I shan't do many of these. Not worth going through all of these. But today we had a limit up day in soybeans, in corn and wheat. And this is what it looked like here. It's kind of limit up when it goes to this. So we see a pattern like that where that's limit up. I think it's 70 cents on soybeans and on the TradeStation chart, that amounts to $70. So we went kind of whatever that was, kind of 1370 level to 1440. That would take us to a 70 cent, or here on this chart, $70 kind of move. Could you have seen this coming? I think on soybeans everything kind of lined up. You had exhaustion sell, blue professional bars kind of coming at the lows. That's a classic down here on this chart here. There we go. Pullback to end of trend on the lowest time frame, syncing up with support on the highest time frame, and then just kind of took off to the upside. Not a classic kind of entry at that point, but definitely it did show that we were likely to have a turn at that point. We looked at the corn chart. For me, the corn chart didn't look half as good. Same thing kind of went on here, where we had kind of a limit up kind of move in corn. And this was all driven off, I think the amount of plantings of soybeans was what caused the kind of limit up move, and there was an unexpectedly small number of acres planted, and so that's an expectation of prices kind of going up. Here, not so clear. Yeah, we had exhaustion selling, some blue professional bars here, but nothing here on this kind of leg down to show that that was a likely place. Soy, yep, that was good, and it happened extremely quickly, but corn, no. Anyway, so there we go. I shall leave it there. Looking forward to the next couple of days trading. We've also got a little bit of a new release of an additional indicator or a version of Better Sine Wave that I'm going to show you on the Easter weekend. And hopefully we can kind of get that coded and included in the installer and get that out in the next several days or so. But anyway, looking forward to kind of showing you how that works. Anyway, I hope your trading is going well.